What's up everyone, OJ here, welcome back to another video, and today we're going over my top 5 Nintendo Switch games of 2019. Now this isn't based on anything outside of just what I like to play the most. There are games that aren't going to be listed on this top 5 here that definitely deserve to be up in the top 5 or that you might like a little bit more, but I'm just essentially going over the games that I really enjoyed for 2019 on the Nintendo Switch. So here are my top 5. Number 5, Luigi's Mansion 3. This is a game that I thought that I was going to like, but I didn't think I'd like it as much as I liked it if it made sense, because I had played the previous Luigi's Mansion games and I thought that they were really good. Like, I didn't think that they were horrible or anything, but the first one was really short. The second one was kind of weird with the structure, but I still enjoyed it, and it had a cool multiplayer mode too. So I was thinking, okay, well, this one's going to be a nice mix between the two of them. It's going to be a solid game, but I definitely liked it a lot more than I thought I would based on my previous history with the franchise. The interesting thing with this game is that it felt like it just kept going forever and forever and forever. I mean, there are a lot of towers to get through, or a lot of floors to get through. There's some like backtracking that you kind of have to do in this game. There's a lot of exploration and extra kind of snooping around that you can do using the poltergeist. So there's a lot more depth in this game than what originally appears to be, and that's on top of the local multiplayer and also the scare scraper mode with the online multiplayer, which is getting more content as well. So this game really surprised me. I didn't expect for it to be in my top games of 2019 when I was looking over the whole list of games on the Nintendo Switch, but it definitely fit right in there at number 5 for me for 2019. Number 4, Pokemon Sword and Shield. So this game has a ton of controversy, right? Everyone has been talking about this game, bashing it up and down, or saying that it's amazing, you know, kind of going either like extremes on both ways. And here's where I sit with this game. I like it. I think it's a very fun game. It has some flaws, definitely, when it comes to like the wild area graphics. Obviously, we can talk about the tree and all of that, which we've talked about so many different times. But when you get down to it, the core essence of kind of like what Pokemon is, it is a phenomenal game. There are a lot of quality of life improvements that make the game a lot more fun to play and better than all of the previous Pokemon games. Being able to take your Pokemon box anywhere that you want, so you can trade with somebody, or you can access a Pokemon that you want to raise, or you can easily just kind of categorize things, just makes things way better. It makes the enjoyment of the adventure so much better. Also, having stuff like Pokejobs kind of added in there in order to build more experience when you're not using those Pokemon, and also get more rewards and money too. Plus, just having stuff like the online. I know people have talked about that a bit, but I like being able to kind of go there and have the online and get different stuff, like with the camping and all of that. All that just adds more elements and more dynamicness to the experience of Pokemon, and it even makes just building up and leveling up your Pokemon and getting a competitive team so much better. The battle animations and kind of what you do in the actual battle, how the cameras look and everything is very slick, and the boss battles, or more like gym leaders, I should say, more like it. The gym leaders are the best that they've ever been when it comes down to each of the gym leaders, their style, what you have to do once you're inside of the gym, just kind of how it sets things up. And I actually really like Dynamaxing. I think Dynamaxing is really cool, and it's fun to do when you're fighting those epic battles. And the gym leader theme, I mean, who can like not talk about that? The gym leader theme is epic. It's really, really good. So I had a ton of fun playing Pokemon Sword and Shield, still playing through the game. I've clocked in around 40 hours plus at this point, and I'm not going to stop. I'm going to keep playing on with the game, and I'm actually really excited for the future of the series, because they're going to continue building off of the base of what they built with Pokemon Sword and Shield in future games. So at number 4 is Pokemon Sword and Shield. Number 3, Dragon Quest XI Echoes of an Elusive Age Definitive Edition on the Nintendo Switch. So technically this game came out back in, I guess, 2017, right, with the original Dragon Quest XI Echoes of an Elusive Age in Japan on the PlayStation 4 and the Nintendo 3DS. Now, a year later, we got that game on the PlayStation 4 localized and also on the PC. And then a year after that, we're getting Dragon Quest XI S Echoes of an Elusive Age Definitive Edition, and it's exactly just that. If you look at the previous releases and the different versions of the game between the 3DS, PC, and PlayStation 4, this version of the game on the Nintendo Switch has the most content, it has the best ease of use, and it's overall just a better game than the previous versions of the game. And on top of that, it's not just a direct port like lots of people like to say that it is. It's actually a custom built kind of ground up version for the Nintendo Switch. That's why it looks as good as it does on the system. That's why it runs as good as it does. And that's why it has so much cool stuff added into the game. It's not like a lot of the other ports that we'll get on there that you can clearly see, yeah, maybe not the best. This one is absolutely phenomenal and better pretty much in every single way when it comes to the PlayStation 4 and PC versions of the game, except for the resolution. But outside of that, this game has so much added content in there with the extra stories and with all of the quality of life improvements, being able to speed up the battle, having the fun size forge to where you can craft anywhere and not have to be just at the campsite. It is amazing in terms of what they've done with this game to make it better. And also the music no longer kills your ears. They have the music that's much higher quality and you can kind of change some of the tracks and stuff, so it's phenomenal. Plus they have the Japanese voice acting with the English voice acting as well. This is the definitive version of the game and it is a solid, amazing RPG, especially if you grew up in the 80s and early 90s in the golden age of RPGs. This is exactly what it's about when it comes to Dragon Quest XI S Echoes of an Elusive Age Definitive Edition. It's just that, and it's just as good as everyone says it is that plays the game. You really want to check it out on the Nintendo Switch, and since it is a version built for the Switch, that's why it's making it into my top games of 2019, even though I did play the game on the PlayStation 4. It really does feel almost like a different game at times. So at number 3, Dragon Quest XI S on the Nintendo Switch. Number 2, Astral Chain. This game, I knew I was gonna love this game, right? Astral Chain is absolutely certified platinum games nuts, right? The game just has so much stuff going on with it. It actually has so much stuff at the beginning that I was kind of like confused in terms of how to control the character, how to control your legion and what they do, how to activate moves, what you can do with yourself, how you fight, when to kind of back off, when to dodge, when to equip. There's so many different elements to the game, but when it all connects, seriously, it's like putting together that first jigsaw puzzle when you were a kid and you're like, so that's where that goes. That's where that goes. And you're looking at it and you're like, wow, I put together this. And that's exactly what Astral Chain feels like to me. Once you put all the puzzle pieces together and you get it, it's just a work of art. It is a beautiful game with an amazing art style and a great gameplay battle system that I've never experienced before in any other games, even with Platinum Games titles. A lot of people like to compare it to Bayonetta or compare it to Nier or something like that, but no, it's actually not like any of those games when it comes down to it. There are some elements here and there, dodge offsetting from Bayonetta. That's a pretty cool thing that they added in to Astral Chain, but outside of that, the combat system is completely unique to what Nintendo and to what Platinum Games wanted to do, which was the Nier developer who was the producer and lead game director on this one. So it's just so cool to see that this game was announced in 2019 and was released. There was no delays, there was no issues. February announced, bam, right there, it was released and we got to play it. So it was fantastic at the end of August, and it's a really great game. So if you haven't picked up or you haven't played Astral Chain yet, if you like action games, you like Bayonetta, you like Vanquish, you like Nier, you like stuff like that, Astral Chain should be on your list of games to play before the end of 2019, or heck, even in 2020. Pick up the game. You will not be disappointed about how awesome this game is. So at number 2 is Astral Chain. And number 1, you guys know what this is going to be. It has to be. It's the People's Choice Game of the Year, and that is Fire Emblem Three Houses. So I could go on for probably about 10 to 15 minutes and then take a little bit of a break and then go on again for like another 10 minutes how much I like Fire Emblem Three Houses. But to me, this is the greatest Fire Emblem game of all time, and I'm going to break down why it's the greatest Fire Emblem game of all time and also why it's my number 1 Switch game of 2019. So to me, it's the greatest Fire Emblem game of all time because in scope, is the largest in scope. You have 3 separate stories that was part of the core marketing campaign of the game. It was ingrained in there. Golden Deer, Black Eagles, Blue Lions, pick your side, but play them all. So I love that about it when they ingrain it into the marketing. It's part of the DNA of the game. And it's an amazing thing because each one of the leaders of each one of those houses, they have their own stories and their own personalities, and you wanted to get to know them and what they want to do. So you want to replay the game. You want to experience all of the stories. So the scope and scale is bigger than any previous Fire Emblem game that I have played, and I've played all of them. The next up, is the combat. They refined things so well in this game that even for Fire Emblem veterans, you're like, wow, I can do that. Oh snap, they added these combat arts in there. Okay, you have these new beasts that you can fight and you have to execute in different ways that you did it previously. It's not just a cut and paste of what we've seen before. There are new tactics within the old gameplay system, and that's what I love about the new age Fire Emblem games, is taking that old system of strategy, RPG, and taking that and saying, what can we add into it to make it more dynamic? Whether it's pairing up with other people on the battlefield, or in this place, it's combat arts and beasts, and kind of breaking the different stuff and getting the materials when you do so. So there's instant reward or gratification for doing the extra mile and breaking all the different barriers on beasts. So there's so many things that they add into this to keep you guessing, to keep you going, to keep you entertained with the combat. And I absolutely love that about Fire Emblem Three Houses. Now, the graphics look good when it comes to the character models, but there are some stuff they can work on. But overall, best looking Fire Emblem game ever made. So that's pretty much easy considering there was no real Fire Emblem game on the Wii U. There was 3DS and of course Super Nintendo and GameCube and Wii and all of that, GBA. Much weaker systems than the Nintendo Switch, but I am happy with how the game turned out, and I feel that the next game in the series is even going to make things even look better with it, kind of like Pokemon Sword and Shield building off of that base. Now, the reason why it makes it to my #1 game is pretty much all of the stuff that I talked about there. It has an amazing combat system, it has slick graphics, it has an amazing story, and it has tons of content and replay value. And if you look at all of these games on this list, I spent at least minimum of, I think, 20 hours plus in each one of these. The shortest game out of all this was Luigi's Mansion, and I spent around 21 hours in that game, and that's just the single player. If you count multiplayer, I've spent a bit more, but that's the least amount. I think that content is overlooked a lot. It's great if you have an amazing experience, but if it only lasts 5 to 6 hours, then it was a great experience, but there's not enough there. All of these games offer so much content, whether it's through multiplayer like Luigi's Mansion and a beefy single player campaign, or it's like 3 separate campaigns for Fire Emblem Three Houses. With one of them, the Black Eagles, took me 85, 86 hours to beat. Dragon Quest, I'm already over 50 hours in that game. Astral Chain, 40 hours. Pokemon Sword and Shield, 40 plus hours. So Fire Emblem, to me, gives me the most value, gives me a great single player, gives me great combat that I can play for this amount of time and be like, wow, I really got my money's worth for this game. Awesome stuff for all of these games here, but Fire Emblem Three Houses is my #1 Nintendo Switch game of 2019. So what are your top 5 or even your top 10 Switch games of 2019? Heck, let me know your games of 2019. I'd love to hear you guys' thoughts in the comment section below. All right, guys, that wraps it up for this video here. Go ahead and check out the links in the description below. We got Facebook and Twitter. Go ahead and give us a like and a follow on our social media. Hit that like button if you did like this video. Lets me know you guys want more content like this going forward in the future. And subscribe to PlayerEssence for latest RPG, Japanese, and Nintendo gaming news. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll catch you guys for the next one. Peace.